All right, Justin's giggle signals. It's time to go live.
All right, howdy, folks. I got something to say real quick. Tide Pods, Russia, Robert Mueller. What else we're not allowed to talk about while we were casting?
Prison.
Prison stories, drug use, all that stuff is on the table tonight. Welcome back to the Fun and Interactive Podcast.
Yeah, it's been a bit since, we were able to hit some taboo things, I guess.
It has been. I did get away with saying shit twice during the show, though.
Yeah, you did.
Specifically.
Yeah, Bethesda has given me a list, yes.
Yeah, but I was going to say, to their credit, the people at ESL were very accommodating. In fact, in many ways, they tried to egg Justin and I on. They were far more supportive of our shenanigans than I thought they would be. So
Yes.
credit to them.
Yes.
But we were trying to be respectful to previous things that we've discussed with other people. So
Yes, there is a list.
there is a list.
We have a very special guest on the show tonight, which I'm very excited about. Alice, welcome to the show.
Thank you, but look at the tags.
Yeah.
It turns out in season 2 here, I've been fired. Yeah. It's good
It's
times.
alright. You can be the guest tonight.
This is where we showcase the power of modern technology, where I can go, oh, now Justin is just strictly fun and interactive. Look at that.
That's awesome. Oh my god. There's this delay, Chad, so I'm just now seeing this and I love it. Actually, I'm much more attractive when my face is covered up like that, so if you wouldn't mind just keeping it like that, that would be sweet.
Well, I'll cover your face, all right.
I liked being Justin. It made me feel really important.
Aww. Well, rest assured, there's a cost to being Justin. Have you received hate mail from neo-Nazis?
Not yet. I'm sure I will.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah, this is your opportunity to say the right thing. I can type some stuff in chat. Just repeat what I write.
No. I don't even want to read it.
No, it's not offensive unless you're a Nazi.
I'm not saying it. I'm not doing it.
Alright.
Oh, sorry, am I quiet?
Yeah, we tried adjusting that before. That was a little bit of the hang-up. You're going to see a little bit of a thing. I can manually turn up the old user volume here. We'll give that a go. You want to say something now, Sophie?
Say something now, Sophie.
Oh.
All right, we'll go a squidge more.
Swoter, what I said was, and this was a long time ago, but it still comes up every now and then. As I said, that Pepe the Frog is a white nationalist symbol, and I was kind of kidding. But man, the response to that was not very positive.
Okay,
Louder?
so
Maybe I just need to speak louder. So I just yell at you.
yeah, you could just yell like you always do at me
Yeah, well, you deserve it most of the time.
every time.
Every time.
All right. So,
It makes sense.
Sophie's our guest.
Having technical difficulties is how we are breaking in season 2 of the Fun and Interactive Podcast.
Listen, you're in a new house. Well, you're not in a new house right now,
No,
but you're
I'm
moving
not.
into a new house.
I lived there, actually.
I'm in a new house.
Yeah.
We're literally talking to somebody who's from the future. She is a Kiwi. She is located in a location where it is tomorrow for her.
That doesn't make any sense.
Happy Saturday. She's here to tell us about Skynet. But seriously, though.
Seems like a great opportunity to piss off the flat Earth people.
Yeah, I'm already blocked by a bunch of them.
It's nearly 3 p.m. on Saturday, so I'm way in the future.
Holy shit.
What can I say? It's not exciting. We have bad internet and that's it.
Listen,
It's fair.
why don't you warn us about all of the bad things that happen?
I know, and I never give you the lottery numbers. Nothing. That's it.
So
I'm
selfish.
Useless as a future person.
Well, speaking of the future, this check this segue out. Next week we have the future of the game's competitive scene with the QuakeCon Master Series finale.
Yeah, we do, but let's not jump ahead. Like, so yeah, Sophie's our guest. Let's do this right, Justin. Let's pretend like we've done this before.
That's true.
Let's let Sophie tell us who she is, tell us about herself.
Yeah.
Her stream name, because there's a whole audio crowd that this is going out to that may not know who she is or what her content is.
That is true.
Okay. Okay, I should have written a list down and read some kind of speech out. I don't know, my name is Sophie. I'm from New Zealand. I stream The Elder Scrolls Legends. I've been streaming it properly since about March, I think, but I had started in I think maybe December, January I'd started here and there. But March is when I found out that this community is awesome, and I started doing it more regularly. By three times a week regularly, not the amazing 5-day-a-weekers that we did.
Sweet.
That's me in terms of a legend side, but I can go into boring details about my life if that's what you would
Listen, we can skip the boring details. Here at the Fun and Interactive podcast, we don't believe in fun or interactivity, so I'm going to ask hard-hitting questions right out of the gate. The things that everybody wants to know.
Amazing.
How hairy are your feet as a natural hobbit?
It's actually hideous. One of my mods always likes to call them manky hooves, and what do you call those black toenails, those fungal ones? It's disgusting. He brings up hobbit feet constantly. It's the only thing that's ever brought up as being a New Zealand streamer is hobbit feet.
Fair enough.
Do you use the word manky? No.
I mean, I use the word manky when I'm talking about the Pokemon.
Is there a Pokemon called? I'm not gonna say that.
There is a Pokemon called Mankey. Are you serious right now?
No. No. I wasn't serious. I totally knew.
I don't know anything about this.
See? Okay, good. No, he doesn't know either. That's fine. I don't know Pokemon.
Yeah.
It punches. It's kind of angry. It looks really good in a holofoil, first edition. Oh. Get with the program.
That's sweet. Didn't we make a Pokemon joke during the...
No, I made a Pokemon joke and it went over your head because...
Yeah.
That was part of a period in your life when you weren't really paying attention.
I had other things going on when Pokemon were big. Wait, no, hold on. We're the same age. Pokemon were never big when we were the appropriate age to enjoy Pokemon.
You shut your mouth. Pokemon are always big. They were born big. They will die big.
Weren't we in high school when that became a thing?
Pokemon is our generation's dinosaurs, all right? I know all the names. I know what they look like. I can pronounce them properly.
I know the names of dinosaurs. Yeah, right?
Okay, so, Master Series.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, not the mama. Yeah, that dinosaur TV show was legit. I like that show.
Dinosaurs TV show, fun fact, saddest ending to a comedy series I've ever seen. They just all die. I mean, you expect that because it's dinosaurs, but
yeah, that's what happens.
They just watch the comet come, the meteor come, the giant rock in the sky come, and then they all die. Hooray!
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It sounds depressing.
Have you seen the new Jurassic Park movie? That's fucking depressing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, second fun fact of the night, and we're barely even into the show. Yeah. I read the other day that they're thinking about bringing back Alf, the TV series.
Oh, that'd be cool.
To me, that's the second most depressing ending to a comedy series because Alf decides to, for the sake of the family he hung out with, go with the government authorities, and it's heavily implied that they're basically going to dissect him.
Really?
Yeah.
I miss that puppet thingy.
Dude, that's what he gets for eating all those cats.
Yeah.
Listen, he was ahead of his time. He was a pussy eater before it was a big deal.
When was it not a big deal?
There's a lot of people that don't get... they get jammed up with the clam, all right? They're not on that wavelength.
So here in Season 2, one of the things we're dedicating ourselves towards is higher quality content, and I hope we're delivering tonight. Did you see that we have a gauntlet coming up this weekend?
Did that even get announced? It was just there.
It's funny you say that. No, it's just there.
Yeah. Stop right there, Justin. Don't say anything. Here in season 2, we're gonna see how far Justin can go without breaking an NDA. No, it wasn't announced, but it's definitely there. It's the Power Surge Gauntlet, the Thanos Gauntlet, as I like to call it, because it's a big surging gauntlet. Snap your fingers.
That makes sense. I'm really excited about it. This lets you play aggro starting with 5 at your bottom of your curve. You're gonna play all the cool cards that I'm trying desperately to play all the time.
I'm assuming it's just a greed fest, right? Like the entire thing, like.
No, well, my experience last time with this was that I just kept losing to actual aggro decks.
Yeah.
But it could be different this time. We haven't had Morrowind with this before. I have to imagine that somebody who can think quickly do math quickly is just going to absolutely dominate with a Telvanni Uprising deck.
Someone who can do math quickly.
Yeah, that's not me.
Half the player base, it feels like, at the moment with these combos.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about actually with Legends, is that like it feels like, and I noticed this with Hearthstone, like after a point it became like the decks become about how can you do your kitschy thing, how can you do your broken thing, like, and the first time I noticed this really with Legends was the decks that revolved around Gardener of Swords, and then it became things that revolved around Unstoppable Rage, and now it seems like every really successful deck has like a power play, and it's not just like I mean, and to be fair, like old decks were just piles of like vaguely synergistic cards, but like now it's like decks are waiting to hit their power play moment, their big thing, instead of just like grinding out advantages incrementally. That's something I've been thinking about lately.
Do you think that gives them a bit of a weakness, though? Like, if that's like their only win condition and someone destroys it, and they haven't built up anything in the background?
I mean, you'd think so.
Checking for that as well.
It's possible, but because there's such limited interaction with cards that aren't on the board, like, unless your deck defeats itself by just like not drawing the pieces you need, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's potentially the case with the current combo because it just wins. But going back to what you were saying with like Unstoppable Rage, while that could win you the game, it didn't always win you the game, right? It was just a big, powerful play. And in many ways, I almost kind of like that there are a few decks in that mold, because it gives you an opportunity to showcase player skill, right? If both you and I are not necessarily playing OTK decks, right, but we're playing decks that have like known synergies and big powerful plays, then the person who navigates it the best, plays it around it the best, forces the other person to maybe do something with less than stellar results, right? Like I make you force, or I force you to like use rage on a lethal creature just to survive, as opposed to a big swing or something, right? I don't know. I think that has an opportunity to showcase player skill.
Yeah, that's possible.
I'm having a hard time thinking through this because I'm gonna be honest. I'm still mentally back at when I said snap your fingers, and I've realized that I want to make a video montage of Thanos clips, but set to T-Pain's snap your fingers, do your step. And I was kind of working that through in my head, I'm not gonna lie.
How much overlap is there between people who understand both points of reference? I mean, like I do, but I mean...
I'm going to go ahead and say everybody in our chat, because they're all cool cats.
Oh, I don't think me being cool has anything to do with me understanding what you're talking about. Darkologist says, does it though? Can people see the skill?
I think that you can. I specifically using the Rage example, right? Unstoppable Rage was a bit of a boogeyman when it was released, and obviously there was a lot of hate for it. And even today, you'll still see some Rage posts, there's your first dad pun of the night, that come up. But you can, identify ways to properly play around it. You fight for field lane. You don't force yourself into a scenario where you have to contest large things with multiple smaller bodies. You don't necessarily have to flood the board. In many ways, it's similar to playing around Ice Storm. You know, sometimes just 2 medium-sized threats are enough to continue to push the game towards its endpoint, towards its goal, without overcommitting to a lane.
Right.
You know, there's going to be times where you do just lose to rage. You know, somebody plays something, you don't have an answer. But the truth is that exists in a lot of games. Like, I've lost a lot of games because somebody played Goblin Skulk and I didn't have an answer. I've lost a lot of games because somebody played Undying Dragon and I didn't have an answer. So
You're not wrong about Unstoppable Rage, except Unstoppable Rage is no longer anywhere near good enough.
well, sure, but I'm trying to use that as that example, right? So, you know, taking that forward, we have decks that are still entirely based on big, powerful plays, right? Big value events, whether that's Necromancer Abuse, Uprising, Conscription.
Yeah.
There are these, it's just like you said, these key moments in games, and I think that the people who plan for those key moments the best, that's where you showcase a little bit of the skill. Again, does it mean that you can do it every time? Does it mean that I can always play around Conscription? No, it's a card game. There's variance, but I think that the really good players, the top end players, have identified the ways to target a lot of those decks. And that's why we do see the meta diversity, you know, outside of Telvanni, the meta diversity that we do.
You think that cards like Conscription and Uprising, these are more skill intensive cards than a game where, like, when it's open beta, we have no additional cards pre Madhouse, where you have to fight for incremental advantage, where you're battling for the field lane half the game.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that from open beta. You know what? I remember open beta just being burn and pillage. And then it was mage. And then it was like action assassin for a bit. Like, we didn't really see the incremental advantage thing until the rise of the Atromancer meta. And then Atromancer was just in my opinion, that was the conscription deck at the time. You played a lot of early value and then you tried to win with Atromancer at the end. That's just conscription today.
How long was open beta? Like, that was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was August of 2016.
To
And
March,
how long
March
was
of
it for?
2017.
Yeah, and closed beta was like 9 months prior to that.
It's not a long time, really.
No, but it was the only time like that there was no other content. I mean, actually, Madhouse came out during open beta, so there was that halfway through.
And so that was going all the way through until like March of last year.
Yeah, it really didn't get. What I'm talking about with cards having their powerful like signature move though didn't really hit until Gardener Swords was like the prototype for this. Whether there was Gardener Swords, Battle Mage, Mage, and Sorcerer, they were all really good at like this was the fulcrum of the entire deck, and then Unstoppable Rage in I don't know when Dark Brotherhood came out.
Yeah, I mean we saw a little bit. So like the original combo decks, if you will, from open beta were Merrick.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it was the Atromancer combo or the actual Merrick combo, and then Wisp Raiders. But the problem was back in open beta, there wasn't nearly enough draw options at the time to make those consistent. So they were, widely considered memes. And now, now those decks still aren't good enough, but it's just so interesting that we went from having almost no draw options to make combos consistent to now I have to figure out which draw options I want to cut.
Yeah, I am concerned about that. I mean, like, the card pool as it stands sort of negates all of the downside of running a 75-card deck over a 50-card deck.
What do you think, Sophie? Don't think you're dodging this. I want to know what your favorite combo is.
I'm bad with combos. Like, for me, the stuff that I always end up playing is, like, aggro and, like, potentially mid-range. And it's often, I guess, not just a lack of experience, but a lack of, like, self-confidence. Like, when you're trying to go for those combos that are coming through, you've got to, like... It's the math. And thinking in advance about what cards you're trying to pull and things. I struggle with that, so I tend to avoid it. It's my goals coming up to try my best to branch out into some of those things, because they look so much fun. I just have to just try it and stop just trying to smash later with aggro decks.
it's interesting because I really enjoy combo decks and I'd like to play them more, but a lot of the Legends I've been playing are on my breaks at work lately.
Exactly.
And I can't play a lot of them on mobile, right? In my time allotment, like I've been playing a lot of aggro in the last 2 months, largely because I'm on mobile trying to play my games in 15 minutes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I play more than anything else in this game. I play on my commute to and from work, and on my lunch break at work. And so I'm sitting on the train. I know that I can generally get 3 games in on the way there and 3 games in on the way out. And so if I'm playing aggro or mid range, it's fine. I took a screenshot the other day of like my win history, and I'd had 7 games on it, and there were 3 that were on my commute to work and 3 on the way back. And there was 1 game in the middle, which is when I tried to play Tribunal. And it took my entire lunch break. It was like 40 minutes for the game or something, and so I just can't do it. I'd end up playing like 2 games a day. Can't climb. For me, anyway.
I feel like my approach to the ladder is sort of like different on different parts of the season. Like in the first like week when we're all grouped around rank 5, and like some of us are going to end up Legend 10 and some of us are going to end up Legend 2500. Like I play the better memeier control decks, but like halfway through the season, like I hit my stride where like I have the opportunity to play the decks that are aiming for a 45-minute game if my opponent never concedes and stuff like that. And that's my favorite time of the season. Last week of the season too, the last 2 or 3 days in particular, you also have the same kind of tendency for people to play, the better decks, which is totally fine. But because I'm intentionally not playing the best decks, I like that middle part of the season.
I know.
Nickel Queen says she wants
Legend as fast as possible this season, and then I can play around. I want to learn Arena. Arena's my focus this season.
Arena's great. Arena's not as good as it was before Morrowind dropped. I will definitely say that.
I just think it will help with understanding cards and how to I think it will help with deck building.
No,
if I
totally
have
agree.
exposure to more.
I completely agree. Like half of the ideas I have for something new are because of games in solo or versus arena, where I was playing with a card that I never really spent a lot of time looking at and had a really great experience with it. And I'm like, how can I translate that experience to versus on the ladder? I think arena is like the ultimate deck building, like boot camp, really.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited. I want to do more of. Like I don't do well in arena when I do play it because I am so inexperienced, but like I always enjoy it. But then I start panicking too much about my ladder. So if I can get to Legend as soon as possible, then I can just kind of, I don't know, concentrate on Arena and try and learn some more. Spend more time on stream with it.
That's fair. There's a comment in chat that I think I need to draw Charmer's attention to. Nickel Queen writes, I just want mid-sorcerer back. What are your thoughts on that?
It never left.
There we go.
It did leave a little bit.
No.
I knew that's what you were
Listen,
going to say.
Just because people have lost faith in it doesn't mean that it's still not watching over all of us. I love that deck.
I know what you're
No, you love one card in that deck.
No. I've been playing Midsorc since long before Worm King Agent was printed. I have more time on Mid Sorcerer than any other archetype, like far and away. Even going back to open beta, I was playing it really heavy. It just fits my playstyle. I just think it fits my playstyle even more now because before it used to be what I would consider curve mid range. And now there are enough tools that have been printed where you can play it like what I call pivot mid-range, and that's a mid-range deck that starts defensively and then pivots. So a good example of another pivot mid-range deck would be like Justin's Crusader, right? His mid-Crusader that starts defensively and then pivots with Dawnstar healers and things and then goes on the offensive. Sorcerer never had those tools, but with the addition of things like Worm King Agent, like Barrow Stalker, a few other tools, it can play more like that, and that's the playstyle I prefer. But Magister helped that a lot with Morrowind, in my opinion, as well. I'm a fan. It's last 2 months, like I said, I've been playing a lot of like aggressive decks and mid-range decks because I have to play on lunch. Last 2 months, I'm still carrying like a 70+ win rate with it. I understand that I'm not like 100% at the top of the ladder, but it's more than competitive enough, in my opinion.
Alindria writes, mid battle mage does that best. Mid battle mage is really good at closing out games when it decides to switch over, but mid sorcerer I think is much more effective at being aggressive if the situation demands it. What's your favorite lunchtime deck? Both of you.
Warrior.
My favorite would be
Warrior.
Yeah, my favorite would be Mid Sorcerer, and lately, post-patch, a very close second is Goblins. Of a couple of different variations. Goblin Archer, aka the matte version, and there's a Monk version I'm toying around with as well.
I
Dude, I was
Monk.
playing-
I've been playing a lot more Monk.
Is it Monk Strike Monk?
No.
Oh.
No. Just like, there was a list that Ian Bits gave me ages ago, just like a mid-monk, with Halfinger and a whole bunch of other stuff in it that I really like. And then I've been trying my best to make a Soul Rest monk that's good. That's not really happening, but like, I'm trying, and I'll continue to try, because Soul Rest needs to be like mediocre again. Sorry, there's a cat here that's arrived and it's not my cat, and I'm a little bit confused.
It's not your cat?
No. I'll just ignore it.
Alright.
So, real quick question.
Yeah.
Before we went live, I mentioned that my dog was sleeping, and sometimes it sounds like a lawnmower. Is anyone able to hear this absolute unit at my feet snoring? I'll go quiet for a minute.
No. I cannot hear any snoring.
All right, good, because it's really loud here in my room.
Right on. Dude, okay, so I was on lunch break yesterday. Just minding my own business, hopping on the ladder with this really RNG heavy Telvanni altar deck. And I ran into Warrior 7. And this dude, and to be fair, we were both cruel fire blooming Balmore Spy Masters at each other left and right.
I hate everything you stand for. I'm glad you all could make it to the last ever Fun and Interactive podcast.
Yeah. But look, I had done my job well in that I had turned my Balmore Spy Master into a Devaith Fear who had cloned himself twice. And I had like almost 40 power on the board. He cruel fire blooms his Balmore Spy Master, gets Marak, steals one of my creatures, and then unites the houses. And that's how I play on my lunch break.
It must be nice to have real lunches. You want to know what my lunch break is? My lunch break is I eat a protein bar, I take a walk outside around my building, and I try to play if I'm lucky, 2 games of Legends when I walk, and then I go back to work. It's like 5 minutes longer than the breaks we get when we're broadcasting.
Yeah, that's fair.
It sounds like a nice break. I don't often really get them. Like, just have to sit at my desk and eat. That's how depressing my job is.
Yeah, you should stop that.
What do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living? I'm a stockbroker. That just sounds really strange, but that's what I do. But not like the cool type who like build your portfolio and give you lots of advice about things to like buy and how to become rich. I'm like the person that sits at the screen and processes like orders. So I just have like refreshing screens of orders all day. And I just sit there buying and selling and buying and selling, and that's it.
All right, so
What kind of stocks are big in New Zealand? Like,
we have a whole, we've got our own exchange, right? So it's like, so we don't just like, I trade a little bit on the US, but largely New Zealand and Australia.
whatever companies are into selling second breakfast, that's the one that's doing well in New Zealand.
Oh, man.
Was that a Kiwi accent?
No. No, gods no. I can't do accents.
That was him trying. It was.
That was an attempt.
That wasn't an attempt. I can't do it. I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't know where to start.
You just don't say any of your R's. That's why I call
So
you
it's
Charmer.
a Boston accent?
Kind of, but not. And then kind of Australian, but like think Australian, but like.
So it's a
like I've got
Bostralian. I understand now. You're a Bostralian who's also the Wolf of Wall Street, even though you can't do math. Everything has clicked for me.
I can do math. Like I have a finance degree. Like that's what my degree is in, is finance and economics. I can do math. I just can't do like lethal math. Like I will sit at work all day and work out percentages, and I'll be trading average prices over the whole day. I'll be like playing around with algorithms to get it so that I'm doing it better than what the computer's doing. And then I come home and I get on stream and I'm trying to count whether or not I've got lethal, and I'm using my hands to do 7 and 4, and I can't work it out. Like it stopped.
Lethal Math sounds like the movie that the movie that Danny Glover makes.
Yeah.
When he's like dressing like the university professor that appears in like as the guest role in a lot of
it's James Edward Olmos starring in.
Yeah, exactly.
Lethal, it's hard. Lethal
starring Jason.
Get the breakthrough, like, into this.
In a world where one math stands alone. Yeah.
Dude, my dog is progressively getting louder. This is going to be the fun and snoring podcast soon.
Oh no, Ian's just found out I have that finance degree. Ian's tried to teach me to count in games so many times. Oh, I'm sorry.
Listen, I will tell you this, though. The mental fatigue thing is real. As somebody who works some pretty long days sometimes multiple jobs, and then, like, deals with kids and does whatever long before I ever go live, there are definitely days where I'm not even looking for lethal when I'm playing this game. I'm just like, oh, I'm fighting stuff on the board. I guess I could have won that turn. Oh, well. You know.
Doesn't matter how mentally sharp I am at any given time. I'm not concerned about lethal.
Well, yeah, I know you're not.
But when you're doing your like video production, you don't have half of these people popping up like saying you missed lethal, you've missed lethal, you've missed lethal.
No! Look, the secret to the part of the reason that I'm still able to approach this game with such incredible joy every day is that I don't stream. I've done it like 10 times. It was cool. I'll do it again next time there's some kind of preview of it. I even upgraded the internet in my house so that like I could start streaming, and then I streamed a few times and I realized how incredibly fucking exhausting it is. And I was like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah. It's the only reason why I only stream 2 to 3 times a week. Is one, because I can't with work and, you know, trying to have a real life at the same time. But it's so tiring. I don't know how people do those like 12-hour, 24-hour streams. I get sick of my voice after a couple and I have to leave.
I mean, I've thought like that a 24-hour stream, if I could find a way to like funnel money to a charity, would be something I'd be willing to do once.
I'd lose my mind.
Yeah, beyond that. Turquoise Link says, streaming way more fun than YouTube. I gotta disagree with you, man. I gotta disagree with you. I think that YouTube's a lot of fun.
So, trying to tie this into actual, like, current events, right? Thinking ahead to the Masters Series.
Yeah.
We know mental fatigue is a thing. How do you think the travel is going to impact potential players, right? I don't know if you guys saw the really cool graphic that got tweeted out, but there are going to be representatives from a large number of different countries all around the world. They're going to be traveling, in some cases, like, you know, you think about Turquoise Link, right? Basically days just to get to QuakeCon to then compete. Do you think that that's going to impact people? I mean, you're not going to be rested. You're not going to have the comfort of like getting a good night's rest in your own bed, things like that. You know what I mean? How do you think that's going to factor in potentially?
I think that travel is going to play a huge part in how everybody performs in the tournament. Yeah. I mean, look, Lincoln is saying in chat he has 32 hours of travel to get there. That's completely insane.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of why I mention it, right? It's it's an interesting thing to consider because some people might have to go a couple of hours if they're here in the States. And I'll be honest, like even that's tiring. I guess I'm trying to think about my experiences from us traveling for the broadcast, right? I wasn't even trying to play the game. I mean, obviously we're trying to cover the game and pay attention to it and whatever, but that travel was certainly fatiguing. It wore me down. I was a zombie at work on Mondays every time I came back. So I was trying to imagine a scenario where I was traveling in a similar fashion and then was going to go compete in a card game. Like, I can't say that I wouldn't have been affected by that.
How long do they arrive before it? Like, do they have a day at least, or are they just like arriving the night before?
I actually don't know.
I think everyone arrives on Tuesday, but I could be mistaken. We arrive on Tuesday.
Yeah, I believe so. Well, you know what? We're arriving on Tuesday, though, for rehearsal, Justin. I think they might be arriving on Wednesday and then competing Thursday and Friday. But again, I don't know. ESL's the one who's handling it all. So...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know... I don't know what I know. Fuck. Dude, I'm involved in too many conversations and I can't remember what I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Even if they do arrive early, right? Like, let's say they show up early. Like, jet lag's still a thing. I can't speak for other people, but sometimes I don't always sleep well in hotels because, it's a strange place, a strange bed. Like, I'm just trying to think of, like, all the things that would potentially throw somebody off your game, especially if you're used to playing this either from the comfort of your own home or, in a nice controlled setting.
Well, it raises some other interesting questions too, right? Like, do you want to be practicing, like playing games, doing scrimmages basically, up until the day before, the night before, the hour before? Or do you need like...
You start doubting everything. You start guessing stuff that you've taken with you. Last minute changes. Be awful.
Exactly. Past a certain point, there has to be some level of strategic fatigue, right? Like, where everything starts to blend together a little bit.
I don't know. I think it depends on the player. Sometimes I personally suffer from paralysis by analysis. Some of the best Magic tournament performances I've ever had were nights where I basically spent the entire night testing before, took like a 4-hour nap, woke up, went straight to the tournament, and I was just functioning on autopilot from all the stuff I'd practiced the night before, and then I wasn't overthinking it, right? Like, I was just going through, like, this is what I know, and I would do really well in those tournaments. It's like, I would liken it to playing blackjack, right? You play blackjack, you stick to the book, or whatever your routine is, and the minute you start going off routine and start overthinking it, that's usually when you open yourself up to error. Right. So I don't know.
It's tough. I imagine that everybody has like all the 16 participants have their own like set way of doing this. Some of them are members of teams. I'm sure that they have people on the team that they are constantly consulting with to maximize their efficacy come tournament day itself. But it's one of those things that when everybody gets together in Texas, I'm very eager to ask everybody how they prepared and what their travel experience was like, and like honestly how they feel it impacted them. Because like you said, I think that everybody's experience is going to be a little bit different. Some people have a little bit more, hypervigilance about themselves and are going to be able to maintain after 2 hours if they have a mission in front of them. And some people are going to need that sleep beforehand and that downtime from the game. Dave Modi says, people are better at creative thinking when tired, but crappy at organization, generally speaking. Interesting.
If Sophie were traveling, what would be her routine? Right? Put yourself in the shoes of a competitor. Yeah. If you're traveling, you're preparing for a tournament, how are you doing it?
I wouldn't be practicing right up until the point, that's for sure. The reason being is that because I'm so I second guess everything that I do, that what I would be likely to do is have my lists really prepared, really well thought out, and then the night before while playing just go, oh crap, no, it's not working, I'm swapping to this. And I'd swap to something else, and it would just be a terrible decision. So I'd be like avoiding it once I was like on the plane and once I'd arrived and done everything. I'd be definitely trying to play against as many people as I could, but I'd want to stay off ladder. Cause people can see what you're doing. So I guess you just play against your friends?
Yeah, I think that's one of the huge benefits then to being part of one of these, scrimmage groups, one of these teams, is you have a consistent group of people who are going to be able to run against the decks you need to practice against, and that you can then talk to about the experience afterwards.
It doesn't have to be a team though. When you've got a community like this, anyone has those resources available, right?
Yeah, if anybody wants to practice their tournament decks against my singletons decks, I am more than willing to help you get ready for QuakeCon.
So, if you're not like practicing up to the minute of, or you're not trying to overdo it, are you doing stuff like going to Volcano?
We haven't talked anything about like the behind the scenes experience we had doing the casting.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't.
What word did you just use? Like, I speak English, don't get me wrong, but like...
Yeah.
I was trying to use your native Hobbiton language. I'm sorry.
We stayed at the same hotel.
Volcano watches over us.
One Volcano to rule them all. Yeah, we stayed at the same hotel all 4 weekends, and we were a block away from this like really busy like commercial district, shops and touristy like kitschy restaurants, and there was this giant corner restaurant called Volcano, like a portmanteau of volcano and like wok. It was an Asian restaurant.
Okay, so I'm kind of happy. I feel like I shouldn't have known that word, so I'm glad that I didn't understand.
No, there's no reason to know what that word is.
Okay.
By the way, I got to give Ray Ray Barker a shout out for writing Singleton and Ready to Mingleton. Yeah, Volcano. Yeah. We have pictures too of Volcano. But yeah, so we went there one time.
It was good. I liked it.
It was good.
So did you ask if part of my prep would be arriving and going to Volcano specifically?
Well, yeah. Or any other, like let's be honest. In America, if you don't go to a restaurant that's supposed to be ethnic food but is actually not ethnic food but just, like, also degrades their culture and horribly commercializes it, then I don't even know what you're doing in America.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
You do that, you go to like KFC and order a double down, or you go to Taco Bell and order anything. There's just certain things you have to do while you're here.
The Taco Bell menu, those aren't even real words.
No.
I've still never had it. Every time I'm in the States, I always think to myself, I really want to try Taco Bell, and I just never do. I just like avoid it. But I want to try it one day.
No, it's fucking atrocious.
But you have to. How can you go through your entire life and still say, like, I've never had Taco Bell?
Well, the good news is if you never do, your life will be longer, and so you have more opportunity to ask yourself this question.
I have a coworker who used to call Taco Bell the great equalizer. He said if you eat Taco Bell when you are healthy, it makes you ill. But when you are drunk and or sick, if you eat Taco Bell, it makes you feel better. He said it was the great equalizer, and I cannot argue against it.
Yeah, I have not actually eaten. I don't think I've eaten Taco Bell since I got sober.
Yeah. Somebody in chat asked what the double down is. The double down was a sandwich, and I use that term loosely, offered by KFC, where the breading was just 2 extra pieces of meat on the outside.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's still a thing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Double down is still around.
Just that's like, awesome. It's not on the actual menu, but Arby's has a secret menu, at least around here locally. And if you go there, you can order a sandwich called the Meat Mountain. And it's literally a sandwich where they put every piece of meat that they offer at Arby's on for you. That's fun.
Great.
Aren't you both vegetarian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
I just got so confused.
I wasn't always, Listen, I ate enough meat for like 3 people. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense.
That was actually.
Have you guys been? Like, I don't know where you are. I'm so bad at the States, but you guys been to Texas? So it's like.
Yeah, I've been to Texas.
I have never been to Texas.
So you got to have Whataburger.
Oh, I've eaten one
thing. I went like 3 times.
They have them in. Where did I? Actually, it might have been in Texas because I went to Texas like when I was 19. I think I probably ate there. Yeah, I remember. I was getting off the highway and we stopped at a Whataburger. That's where it was. Yeah.
And Whataburger is great. It was like my favorite part about Texas. No, that's not true. The convention was really cool, but Whataburger is where it's at.
I don't remember. I was
shout out for Whataburger in chat. That's how good it is.
Malibu Barbas says, my brother worked at a sandwich shop, and when he got bored, he would try to convince drunk college students to eat a sandwich with tuna and hot sauce. That doesn't sound so bad.
That's a good friend of mine's brother, like, purposely would seek that out. Like, whenever we would go to Subway, he's somebody that I used to play Magic with, right? So we'd go to these big, like, day-long tournaments, and then we'd go to, like, Subway when we were done, because everybody was hungry. And he would order a foot-long, and he would usually order, like, something that had meat, but then he would do double meat, and the second piece of meat was always tuna. And then he would heap on, like, jalapenos and banana peppers, and then he would ask for, like, hot sauce. And, like, that was his go-to sub every time.
I mean, I still eat a lot of sub sandwiches. Like, it's just like, a sub sandwich without meat can still be, like, really tasty. It's just like a salad with bread.
Yeah, I have a feeling it would just make me want the meat, so.
Salads are good, bread's good, it's all good. The J is unsilent. I don't know what that means.
Jalapenos. That's what it means. Jalapenos.
No, jalapenos. You've got to say it.
No, around here it's jalapenos.
No.
There's jalapa yes and there's jalapenos.
Okay.
Listen, I know what I'm doing here. Like, the best thing to do is to go to your local restaurant and tell them you want a chicken fajita.
Oh my god.
I'm going to an all-you-can-eat, like, barbecue meat place for dinner tonight, and I was worried about bringing it up with you two vegetarians, but now I see it's fine.
Oh, no, you're fine. Look, meat's delicious. It's not why I don't eat it.
I've never been to this place. Husband's
good. And I don't care that people eat it. Like,
yeah, same here.
That's on them.
Yeah. It's totally cool with me.
Yeah, you do you.
Yeah.
Ray's trying to bring us back to the subject.
What decks are we expecting to perform well at QuakeCon? Telvanni Uprising, Nixox?
I'm going to go against that, Justin, and say I don't think Telvanni's going to perform well at all.
Probably because it gets banned every
Because it will be banned every round.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The backup answer to that is, it kind of depends, right? Like, I expect there actually to be a really healthy mix of aggro decks, mid-range decks, and control with decks with combo kind of kills in them. I think that what we saw in the qualifiers is going to be reflected again at QuakeCon, where there's going to be a diversity of decks based on what the individual player is most comfortable with. I mean, like, for all the like shit we give Legends about, like, that Legends receives about broken cards and unbalanced cards and stuff like that. Like, Legends is an exceptionally well-balanced card game, and like certain strategies are more powerful than others, but these are some of the top players in the world, and like you put a deck that they're familiar with and comfortable with in their hands, and they're probably going to perform more effectively than they would with what is maybe kind of like regarded as the best deck, whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. When you look at the 4 qualifiers for the Masters Series, and then the variations in the kinds of decks that we saw, there was far more diversity in all of those decks than I have ever seen in any Hearthstone event I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, probably more than most Magic events. You go into some of the older modern stuff or whatever, where it was a little wide open, you can see a lot of different decks there. But Magic's hard to judge because it's one deck with a sideboard. But like when you talk about, Hearthstone events and the lists you see there, and then compare it to Legends had a great representation, in my opinion, for the Master Series. And I think we're going to see a lot of different decks. I want to see some more people bring Assassin. I think Assassin is underplayed. I think that a good tempo-oriented Assassin can do really well because it can go underneath control decks potentially, and it can kind of tamper down some aggressive decks. I expect to see aggro. I think Tribunal will be one of, if not the like second most popular control deck.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to see Halalu control. I expect to see Dagoth control.
I would expect that the next most representative control deck will be Tribunal, by a million miles. I think we're going to see an evolution of the Uprising deck that we saw a couple people bring to the qualifiers.
I mean, listen, my dream is to see somebody bring Halalu control with the Ring and Amira combo. So if you're a competitor and you're listening, just go make that be a thing. I'm looking forward.
Hold on,
I'm looking forward. Wait, stop.
What does Ring of Namira combo beat?
Everything once it goes off.
And if you don't have the ring, you can't go off in one turn.
What's your point?
None of these control decks are ever going to let that happen.
Sure they will.
No.
They just won't see it coming.
I mean, like, look.
Listen,
of course they will. First of all,
Justin. Let me counter with this. If I would have said to you,
counter 100% of the time.
If I would have said to you before the Master Series, somebody with a Dwemer deck is going to qualify, you would have laughed at me then too. So, if that can happen,
I mean, you're not wrong there.
My Ring of Namira combo is entirely possible.
Yeah.
Shame on you, sir, for deck shaming me.
I mean, look, if Ring of Namira is the 50th card in your weird monk control list, then maybe. Maybe. But no. I do actually think that the wild card deck is Unite the Houses, though, and I hate to say something ridiculous like that, but I do believe that.
People just realized that my chat has commands and I'm watching them go through. It kind of makes me giggle.
Yeah. So, and speaking of Halalu control, we did see somebody bring that. Was it Mazaboom?
Yeah, Mazaboom had one.
Who brought Slay control Halalu?
Yeah.
So, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think Halalu is entirely reasonable as a control. I mean, you've got your standard willpower control. For not Ice Storm level AoE, right? But for just some basic early AoE, you've got things like Skaven Pyromancers. You can run Cradle Crushes if you want. You have agility, so you can get some of your draw package in. If you want to run a lot of like lethal, you can maybe slide in Archer's Gambit. Like, I think that Halalu as a control deck actually has a lot of versatility. I think that because Halalu, since Morrowind was released, was just so strongly regarded as like, hey, that's the aggro thing, there's probably not been as much of a concerted effort to find whatever the potentially optimal list would be. So I don't know. I would like to see somebody at least give it a good, solid effort, good whack.
I do think that the big winner in a meta where Drain Vitality is worse and there's been limited amount of time to test alternate control strategies is conscription, right?
Yeah,
I think we'll see some conscription.
I mean, I would be shocked if we didn't see at least one conscription.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised we didn't see more of it even in the qualifiers.
I don't remember seeing it at all. Even once. I can't remember anybody in the top 8 any weekend bringing a conscription list.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. I feel like there was somebody that might have had one in their deck. It didn't look like it was dedicated conscription, and I feel like it was a game we didn't cast.
That's interesting. On a personal level, too, one of the things I'm most excited about, like, this event is like the time off camera when the games aren't rolling and stuff, is meeting all of these great players. Like, these are people who, for the most part, I'm pretty familiar with, and then the people who I'm not too. I just want to hang out with other people who like Legends. Like, that's one of the things I'm most excited about this experience.
I think so. I'm really jealous of being so far away. The crew of people who are going to be there is amazing. Like, all massive members of our community.
It's pretty cool. We get and as a fan, honestly, too, I'm looking forward to meeting Josh Utter-Layton.
Oh yeah, we get to do that, don't we?
Yeah, that
still hasn't like sunk in.
I know. He accepted my friend request on Facebook yesterday, dude.
Wow.
That's so cute.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think he's going to
Biggest smile
accept
I've
mine.
seen from you today.
I mean, I don't use Facebook, so I wouldn't send one anyway. But if I did, I don't think that he would accept mine.
I think I was Facebook friends with your wife months before I was Facebook friends with you.
Well, yeah, because I sign in like once a month.
Yeah. Although they cross post, all your tweets end up on this fucking page that I'm following that says, for some reason.
Yeah, I set that up. Supposedly that's going to get shut down soon. Facebook, I guess, is going to like stop third parties being able to post. So I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I just...
If we're gonna change Facebook's allowing other people to post, how about we start with the fucking Russians?
It's not all Russians, Justin.
Jackal says, "Hey Justin, we're neighbors. We need to meet up and play." I gotta ask my wife. I live in southeast Denver now. So if you're around there, that'd be cool. I'm looking for a place to play Magic. So if you know of a place, let me know.
Dave Bodie says, people still cross-post Twitter to Facebook. I have a Google Plus page, sir. Listen, if you want to find Charmer, I make it easy to find me. I'm on a lot of platforms. I only check Twitter, but I'm on a lot of platforms.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just post to everything?
I mean, that's the way I've set it up, yeah. Like I said, I use Twitter primarily, and I have it cross-post stuff so that if people have a different preference, then I try to accommodate it, and then I just check in on those things, like, once a month or whatever.
I don't know. I just don't think it's used very much anymore, Facebook, is it? So if they take that away from it, then no one will use it. Well, not no one. But...
I don't know. I got a notification the other day that something like, "We thought you'd like this photo from 13 years ago," or something like that, and I was like, I would not.
Oh, it's awful. It's so bad.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that I first started posting on there when I was a teenager, when I first joined, and it keeps coming up in the memories, it's horrific.
It's not great.
It's not stuff I need to be reminded of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have a MySpace. I can't log into it anymore, but I found it the other day.
I used to have MySpace and Bebo. Is Bebo around for you guys?
Not familiar with the second one, no.
Bebo sounds like the noise a robot would make if I was trying to plug something in the wrong port.
It was like...
Jesus.
It was like a, It was like for, like, emos. Like,
well, let me ask Sandra. Sandra, did you ever have something called Bebo? She was more that type than me. It was something for emo kids. She says I'm digging a deeper hole. Sorry, babe.
I thought that was a big thing. It was like we moved on from like MSN to Bebo or MySpace. I can't remember which one came first.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really do that stuff. Social media wasn't really my thing because I wasn't very social.
Hey, we got to give a shout out real quick to Shinestorm, who was in chat. Shinestorm gave us the opportunity to dance the robot. I just got to say, thank you, Shinestorm, for that opportunity. I look forward to seeing what you bring to QuakeCon.
I look forward to us peer pressuring CVH into doing it, because if I had to do it, he needs to do it.
I got a whole list of dumb shit that I'm planning on saying and doing during QuakeCon.
Oh. So.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, at some point tonight, too, we are going to give away a 60-pack bundle of Houses of Morrowind cards that we managed to get together for this very special episode.
Yeah, we can start that. I'll open it up right now. So, I just started it. All you have to do is type _masters in the chat. Yeah. Again, this is for the live viewers. If you're listening from the future, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll get that out of the way now so that people can get in there and then go back to chat once everybody's entered. So what I was about to ask is...
Yeah.
So obviously, we had Nerfs come through, right?
Yeah.
What kind of representation do you think Scout is going to have with the changes to Drain Vitality? Because I still think that A version of Scout can be strong. As far as I'm concerned, any format where 7/7 giant bats are a thing, it has potential.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not going to be the deck that it was.
I expect to still see some, but not nearly the representation it had. I mean, maybe we see... I don't want to put a number on it, but I think that if you're looking to bring that kind of a dark deck, you're going to first turn to Telvanni.
What about you, Sophie?
Well, if you're saying that it's going to first turn to Telvanni and then everyone's saying that that's almost guaranteed that it's going to be banned,
Right.
do you not then line up a Scout that you think might take almost the same way? Like, do you not almost have two decks that are incredibly similar? Like, I understand that it's not as powerful now post-nerf, but...
You know, it's funny you mention that because one of the things I keep going back to is the original Nick Sox Boogeyman was Assassin. And there's a part of me that wonders if somebody's going to try to bring that back with the anticipation of the Telvanni being banned.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can run Uprising and Assassin, right? Like, you can still do the combo.
One of the things that kind of surprised me, actually, was... Because I agree, like... I agree, Sophie. Like, that was kind of my expectation going into the qualifiers. But, like, the number of people who brought one or the other and not both kind of blew my mind.
Isn't it saying that with Conquest you're supposed to, or like an optimal way of doing it is essentially bringing like 4 of the same deck?
Yeah. We just didn't see a whole lot of that. I would say that maybe half the people who brought one brought the other, but the other half didn't, which is kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, the people that stuck to like 4 of the same deck were, you know, Dusty Pasta.
Well, I think Santos Vela kind of did it too.
Yeah, kind of.
Santos Vela brought 4 mid-range decks that crushed aggro decks and rolled the dice against control.
Dusty Pasta is what I pulled that face as well, Dust. I didn't quite get that.
Ian Bits in chat says the original Nick Sox Assassin was way more reliant on Drain Vitality than any other deck in this game's history. I have to agree. It was it and Black Hat Messenger were the only removal spells in that deck.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to disagree with that. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to be anywhere close to what the old one was. I'm just saying that, you know, if somebody was looking for things to give a go and revisit, it's going to be an unexpected thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be something I would at least consider testing.
Oh, Please Don't Hack Me is a good point. Petamax's Abomination is pretty reliant on it. That's a deck that, like, I really wanted to see. I really wanted to cast during the qualifiers, and never having it in the top 8 was really disappointing. Do we know what time the broadcast starts for the Masters event? I have it somewhere.
Yeah, we do, because CVH put it on Twitter at some point. But that is a good question.
Yeah, we'll get that information to you. Pretty exciting stuff, though. I mean, we are so close to this. And, you know, I keep saying this, but, like, $50,000 is a huge prize pool. Like, somebody's life is going to get changed by this. By playing Elder Scrolls Legends. Like, I don't know, that just still kind of blows my mind. I know the competitive card games, competitive esports, and all that stuff has been a thing for a long time. I've never really been involved in any other game besides Legends, so, like, watching that happen to somebody I know, it's just, like, so exciting. I cannot wait to see it.
That's the hardest part, though, because we know so many people. Who am I supposed to be vouching for? I'm struggling with that so bad. There are so many people that I want to win out of that lineup.
Yeah, but only Shinestorm played Dwemer.
It's a good point.
Yeah. All right, so
it's difficult. Like, if I want everyone to win, I'd just be disappointed for people.
Well,
like, I know who I want to win first, and then past that point, it's just I get confused.
I mean, you can relish in the fact that everybody's going to get something. It's just some people will get more than others, but everybody's getting something out of this, so.
Yeah, not to mention just, like, the experience, right? Like, you're going to go fly to Texas. For some people, that's way across the world. You're going to meet all these other people, share in this beautiful experience with other people who are super passionate about the exact same thing you are. Like, I think that that's long term in life way more valuable than the money. Although there's a shitload of money on the line too.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is.
It's an insane amount to win for a first place. Like first place, amazing. What is this? What is it from that point onwards? Like, what's the winning? Like the prizes? Because it's like 20 for first.
I both can't remember if I know and don't know if I can say.
No, they announced it.
Yeah,
Like,
they've shown it before. I feel like that sounds correct, Sophie.
I feel like it was 20, and then I can't remember after that point.
It's quite a bit of money.
But either way, it's insane. And I know that the first, like, whoever gets first, which will be Joe, is going to be amazing. They're going to be happy.
Kagimusha666 writes, $50,000 prize pool equals peanuts. Guess, lol. Even Gwent has more money on the table. It's still a shitload of money. Like, what do you do where $20,000 doesn't matter?
This is just the beginning of the competitive scene, like, properly for this game. This is
I mean, $20,000 doesn't pay off my student loans.
No, I mean, it doesn't pay off mine either. But, like, it's still life changing. I mean, like,
yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah. So, to answer the question from earlier, August 9th, it's going to begin at 1 p.m. Central Time. August 10th, it will begin at 10 a.m. Central Time. So those are your times for when it will begin, because it's a 2-day event. And I put a link in the chat to the Twitter post.
I like this. Ray Barker says that the twist is that it's 20K event tickets. Oof.
That would be a massive plot twist.
I don't know what just happened. Did Justin drop off the call?
Yeah.
I think Justin dropped off the call.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're massive on my screen now.
Can we not be massive on my screen? I can't see the screen. Shall I go look and see how big it is?
No. You actually, when you slid down, you showed up kind of perfectly where you were supposed to be. It was wonderful.
The fuck was that?
I don't know, you dropped, but it was a little bit comical for a bit.
I got booted off of... everything else is still working. I just got kicked off Discord.
Aeolus was enjoying being the center of attention. I know how much she enjoys it. She only ever wants the spotlight all on her.
Nice.
When I said, hey, you want to come on our podcast? She said, only if I can be the only person on it. It's all about me.
I didn't even want you guys there.
That's right.
That makes sense. Well, what I was saying in regards to the 20,000 event tickets is, do you remember when we were in Boston and not in Boston? Yeah, in Boston, and they had those computers set up with the full accounts, and I don't remember if it was Ian or Griffin. One of them hit the soul trap button on those accounts, right? Because it had like a million soul shards or whatever available if you trapped the entire thing, because it had 20 copies of every premium card. And the game refused to let it happen. Because there's a cap, actually, on how many soul shards you can accumulate.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
Is it?
Yeah, it's hard programmed, wired whatever into the thing. I don't know why.
So, Ian Bitts mentioned Blonde Justin is back, and I would feel remiss if I didn't tell this story.
Okay.
There was like a dressing room, changing room thing in the studio. And they have all these pictures up of, people that you would recognize who have broadcast before for them. So there's pictures of like Trump and Raynaud and lots of like well-known esports broadcasters who have helped out with various things all on the wall. And Justin made it onto the wall. And it was a picture of him with the blonde wig as a Nord.
It was pretty exciting. Every week we were talking about how... Like, I would say to Charmer, like, look at these people. Like, I cannot believe we're in this fucking studio doing this. Like, the same thing that these people did. Actually, there was another experience we had like that when we ran into Brian Kibler.
Yeah, that was I remember, I can't remember if that was the first week or the second week, but I get this text as I'm coming down to the lobby so we can catch an Uber to the studio. And Justin just goes, hey, Brian Kibler's in the lobby. And I was like, and he's like, I just really was excited and wanted to tell somebody. And then when I finally got down to him, I was like, he's here to do the exact same thing you're doing, right? Like, has that sunk in for you?
It was pretty eye-opening, It was a humbling experience, this whole thing.
Someone Google it quickly for me in chat.
Is Orc gonna show up? Stay tuned. How tall is he? About as tall as I am. I'm 5'11". Yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff planned for this.
Justin has some pretty cool stuff planned. I have nothing.
That's not true. I want to give you a shout out too, man, because like I understand that like some of my moments are a little flashier, but like if it wasn't for like what you did day in and day out during those casts, like I would have never have been able to do any things I did. Like we were 100% a team that whole time, and like you were the perfect person to work with, and it was a real pleasure and a real cool like next leveling of like our friendship that we developed over the last couple of years playing this game, and it was a real honor to do it with you, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else.
Another one of the Charmer fun facts, he's obligated to say that by contract. You cannot believe him.
It's true. I expect my check later.
That was really sweet. We all enjoyed it. I can speak happily on behalf of everyone there. You guys are an amazing team. I managed to like watch it at work and everything.
Oh, thank you very much. I practiced, but somebody said on Reddit when we were announced as the casters, like, couldn't they pick somebody like a couple of people who like are like better at the game? And so I responded, "Oh, it's cool. I've been watching the Loser to Legend series on YouTube to figure out how this game works." And I was pretty impressed with that series of events. Would I refuse a gig that didn't?
Just where everyone who's angry goes.
Reddit?
Yeah. Like you can never make everyone on Reddit happy.
You can never make everyone happy. Period.
Reddit specifically.
Yeah, that's
Justin
true.
had to tell me what Reddit was like less than a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Reddit's not
I got
great
an
all the
instruction.
time. Yeah.
Listen, I will all day, every day go to Reddit before I go to the official forums for this game. Let me just throw that out there. Shout out to the Reddit community. You guys are not a dumpster fire. You're actually pretty awesome.
The official forums for this game are the absolute worst place I've ever been on the internet, except for that incel website that I was reading.
Well, now I need to go.
To the incel website? No, you really don't.
No.
Stick to your flat Earth area.
Yeah, this is how you're going to get banned from entering our country, because there's no way the FBI is not tracking that website.
Well, see, I'm talking about the Bethesda forums.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Check it out. I mean, it's funny. But the Bethesda forums are just complete and utter shit. Yeah. Reddit's not bad. No, I actually think that our Reddit, like, I mean, I first got onto our Reddit a couple years ago, and then, like, I've branched out to other parts of Reddit, and, like, the Elder Scrolls Legends Reddit is, like, much better than, like, most other parts of Reddit.
Yeah, I've been a part of some other Reddits, like, you know, Hearthstone's Reddit is pretty up or down. League of Legends Reddit is almost worse than solo queuing in that game. The Culling was a game I played a ton when it first launched. Community was relatively okay at the start, but about 6 months into that game started to really go downhill, and then it got even worse when it was released to consoles. I don't know if that has any influence or not, but yeah, our Reddit is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
Far better than a lot of the other ones I've belonged to.
Yeah. Plot twist, Justin is actually every account on the forums. I am several. I will say that. Who is the coolest Argonian? Since Red Brahmin's not an Argonian. I don't know.
I don't know if I know what her name is, but it's definitely the lusty Argonian maid.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's not a more iconic Argonian in my mind.
That's a good answer.
Who's your favorite character from any Elder Scrolls game and or experience, Aeolus? I'm putting you on the spot.
Favorite character?
Yeah, from any game, any Elder Scrolls universe lore. Could even be not somebody you've met, but maybe they're in the books. Like,
Someone that I've met.
no, I mean because there are some people like Red Brahmin.
With names. The only to put it in perspective with my lore knowledge, like I've only played Legends and Skyrim. And so any of the characters that come through in Legends, I don't know their history at all. I don't know them. I have a mod in my chat called History Buff. I don't know if you guys ever see him around. He's been in this chat before. I ask him about anything. And that's who I'll go to. Because I just don't know the names of them. I don't even remember the names of the people I ran into in Skyrim, and I have hours in that game.
Well, describe them. Who's the character that's most memorable? Like, what was the interaction you had?
Lydia? She's in it, right? The lady? And
yeah.
The reason why she's most memorable for me is because I don't think I have, in any of the characters that I've started where she's been my little helpery slave lady, I don't think I've ever kept her alive. I think she's died in every single one.
Wow, you managed to kill Lydia? My experience with Lydia every time is that I can't kill her and she won't get out of my doorway.
No, the worst thing about it is I load her up, like she's pack horse, and I load her up, she carries everything that I want, and then she dies, and we're in the middle of fucking, nowhere, and I have to decide
You watch your fucking language.
And I have to decide what to bring back, and that's
I've killed Lydia numerous times by mistake.
I can't keep her alive, and then I lose all my stuff.
I gotta go with Maik.
Yep. Justin and I are one and the same minds. Maik the Liar.
Maik the Liar. That needs to be a card.
It needs to be more than one card. I stand by. I want a set like the Madhouse Collection or Forgotten Hero, but it's a unique legend of Maik the Liar. Either one for every attribute or one for every class, whatever the case may be. I want multiple Maiks that all do different things but are still unique legendaries. Because there are multiple Maiks in the lore.
Yeah. Maik is great. This one is unsure of your truest intentions. You like the little boy that summons the Dark Brotherhood? Doesn't that kid like kill his whole family or hire you to kill his family? That's fucked up, dude. Hey Justin, do we think we will find out who killed? Do you think we will find out you killed Manticore at QuakeCon? I mean, yeah, I mean, Nicky Ox killed Manticore Jones, and I am Nicky Ox, so I guess I guess that's out there. Do we want to do some interactivity?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it, but we can do the official, like, send us your questions call out. Yeah.
And don't forget to enter into the raffle thing, too. We're giving away 60 packs of Houses of Morrowind.
That is correct. You have to type !masters into the chat, and that enters you into the raffle, and we'll pick a winner later. You only have to type it once. Typing it more than once does not increase your odds of winning.
Right. So yeah, what we like to do at this part of the show is take questions from the audience. They can be about absolutely anything, legends, whatever else you're interested in. Questions for any of the three of us. Shoot them on out there.
First one. What is Sophie's favorite card and why is it Bushwhack?
This Bushwhack is taking on a bit of a life of its own.
Would you say it's bushwhacked your stream?
No. That was actually quite poor from you. Do better next time. But no.
Have you ever interacted with me at all? That is as good as it gets. How dare you?
No, Bushwhack is something that I shouldn't have... I played it, when the expansion first came out, I had it in like I added it to a warrior list, and I loved it, and I played really well with it, and I really enjoyed it, and I advocated for it far too much, to the point now where I've gone too far. I haven't played that in a list for months, and it's still the card that I'm known for. It won me a game on the Wednesday night stream. It wasn't even in the list. I got it from Pawnbroker.
All right, so
I mean, like it's not a bad card.
I love it.
I think that if an Unstoppable Rage ever got good again, it'd be pretty reasonable in that sort of thing.
next question that we got are kind of, there was a couple of them, but it's the same thing, right? We got like predictions for finals, favorites for QuakeCon, etc. You know, finals predictions, that sort of thing.
The two players that I think performed, okay, I think three players like really played their asses off in the qualifiers that caught my mind, that are going to be people I'm paying the most attention to, and those people are Dust, Endozoa, and Please Don't Hack Me. That said, I think they're all great players. Those are just the people who I have my eye on because of the way they performed during qualifiers.
All right. What about you, Sophie?
Who I want to win, who I think will.
Who you think will? Like, we're talking predictions.
I'm Team Joe. I've been Team Joe for a long time. I think he's like hands down one of the best players in the game, and I expect him to do incredibly well. Past that point, I find it difficult to judge, because I don't know, and it could be anyone's game. Honestly, I've got no idea who's going to win, but I'm gonna say Joe will. From that point onwards.
What about you, Derek?
That's kind of a tough call. There are so many good players. Like, if I had to just go from like a consistency standpoint, I think Endozoa had one of the better like single day performances I've ever seen. Karakhan Zul had a really good performance. Dust was pretty consistent as well. I think, I don't know, like if it was me, I could see it being Link as well. I'm trying to think of the people who like definitely like they take their time, they're measured. Man, I don't know, that's a tough call. I would feel better like if I knew what the bracket looked like. I think I would feel better. Like, it's hard to pick like, hey, just like who do you think the best two are? Because there's some other things that I think go into it. I think just from performances that we saw in the Masters, if I was going to say like who are the two people I would see in the finals solely based on like what we saw out of the tournaments, I would probably say Karakhan Zul and Endozoa. Their single day performances, the Karakhan Zul with like multiple sweeps, Endozoa, who minus like I think one mistake all day, played flawlessly. I think,
yeah,
just based on what we've seen. Not to say that there's not a million people, any of the people who qualified could win, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I agree.
But if we were going just solely on like what we saw,
I agree.
So those who qualified on points show a lot of consistency, right? That means that maybe
definitely.
It wasn't their day on a few matchups, but they
Definitely.
consistently got enough points to be able to qualify. So
I agree. I think TDC Jason's a guy to watch out for that exact reason.
yeah, absolutely. I think that is also one of those things that's kind of hard to judge, though, because if you qualified the first week, then you don't get to showcase yourself in the points. You know what I mean? Yeah. So while I'm not disputing that. All right, so I'm trying to get caught back up on the questions. I've been doing the old copy pasta here as we go so that I can make sure that we try to catch them all. The next one was, what's your favorite tricolor combination that does not exist yet?
Red, purple, green is going to do some disgusting things. That's my answer.
Sophie?
USA.
USA! USA! Yeah, that's what I would say as well. I think red. I'm with Justin. I think red, purple, green. Like I want to play Rage and Scout just because I think it's fun. But I think American Control has a lot of potential.
Volendrung and support mage.
Someone got me with Volendrong the other day. I'd like never seen the support before. And all of a sudden they killed me with a 16-13 cloud race that like just seemed to come from nowhere.
It's awesome.
I wasn't happy about it. Especially because I was playing support mage and I'm terrible at control.
Oh, hold on. I see a question here I have to answer real quick. Dust asks, how excited would you be to see the shirt make a comeback at QuakeCon? My brother. If you play in the shirt, I don't know, man. Whatever you want, just ask. It's yours. It's yours.
All right, I will delete that. That one was on my list. I wasn't going to make sure.
I would be honored to see that, Dust. You know, on a personal note, like I'm really excited to hang out with Dust and Santos Vela again. Like these are guys we had a great time with down at Bethesda HQ, and I think we made pretty cool relationship there, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with both of them again.
Yeah, it makes me very, very sad that we're not going to see Ian Bitts again, Matt again. Like the crew that went with us when we visited Bethesda were awesome. Like absolutely awesome. Even people like I'd never met Santos Vela before. I'd only interacted with him a small handful of times. Fantastic dude. Ian is as cool as he is online, guys. He is way cooler in person.
I agree.
Dust is a joy.
Yeah, Dust and I watched Silence of the Lambs together.
Matt is angelic.
Matt is a great guy as well. It was a real cool
amazing photo of everyone having pizza in the room. It just looks like such a cool crew of people.
It was a lot of fun. That was Charmer trying to hit legend in the last day of the season.
Yeah. And I did it undefeated, and I did it with mid sorcerer. Even back then, I was saying to Justin the other day, sorcerer is my deck that never lets me down. If I ever just need to do something, like it just works.
I can relate to that. I have a couple decks that like, you know, they're not tier 1, but they're tier 1 adjacent, like in the hands of somebody who's like played too much of them. Like for me, it's support mage and like market archer are just decks that like are strong decks that I really like to play. And if I'm feeling down and I want to just win some games, I'll load those up, and they never let me down.
So next up, because I've been trying to catch them as we go, and I thought this was a great question. Somebody asks, Mudcrab Merchant was the surprise star of the qualifiers. Do you anticipate a new surprise star this week?
That's tough. Mudcrab Merchant, by the way, is a card I expect we'll see a lot less of. Although I think we'll still see some of it.
Yeah, I think we'll see a couple, but not nearly the same amount.
Right. It's no longer the steel scimitar carrying warrior that it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be an absolute unit.
It did. That's a good question, though. What card? I mean, I think we're going to see more Ash Berserkers. We saw a lot of them, but I think we'll see more. Surprise card. That's a really tough question. What do you think about Shrine of Namira?
See, here's the thing. I don't think that counts as a surprise. Similarly, like, my gut wants to say Plunder because I know Dust is going, but I also know it's not a surprise because I know Dust is going, right? It'd be like me saying Bushwhack if Sophie were going.
Yeah.
We only saw a couple. I mean, in fact, the only shrines we saw, I think, were in Doomcrag, right? I don't know. I think that card's underplayed. I'll just put it like that. I think we forgot how great that card is.
It's really good. What about you, Sophie? What do you think is going to show up? What's the new hotness?
I have no idea if there's going to be anything new, because I don't think that lately there's been any cards on ladder that I've run into more often than previously. Like, I kind of expected to see Mudcrab because I was running into it a lot already. Like, it was in lists that were already out there. So I know that it was like the big surprise, and it won games for people because of what it drew. But I don't know. I've been playing Soul Rest, so I'm gonna say people are like, she's a genius. We're taking Soul Rest because she's trying to make it like decent again.
That used to be one of my most hated cards.
It's just a terrible Nexus.
Well, but it used to be. It used to be something else entirely.
Yeah, it's been balance changed so many times.
All right, so somebody has a question about leaderboards for Arena. Do you know if there ever will be any, and would you like it if they implemented that, perhaps added extra rewards or cards to Arena only so more people play it that have all the cards and the like?
I feel like the leaderboard is inevitable.
Yeah, I would agree. Like a leaderboard for Arena. So,
No, sorry, I missed what Justin said. But that's my fault.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I said I think that the leaderboard is inevitable.
Yeah, I think it's needed.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to see it.
I'm going to do the exact same thing with the Arena leaderboard, actually, that I did with the ladder. The first season we had a ladder. I'm going to hit top 10, and then I'm going to retire.
All right. We've got another one. Do you think we'll get an announcement about the new client at QuakeCon? Specifically, release date is the question.
I don't know if you guys are allowed to say stuff. Should I take it?
Why don't you take that question?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they might give us more snippets, but I don't think they'll give us a date. I don't necessarily think they should either. But I saw Justin look at his feet as soon as and I know he's trying so hard not to say anything that he's I'm gonna go no, they won't. They might give us more snippets, maybe they'll do a little reel showing us some more images from the new client and we'll get excited. But I don't think they'll give us a date. And I'm hoping they'll prove me wrong.
Good answer.
Even though I'm jumping ahead because somebody just typed it, do we also want to cover, Justin, can we have any speculation on what the next expansion or story content will be? Do you want me to share that now? Do you want me to put it up?
Yeah, why don't you show the preview graphic?
All right, here we go. This is your sneak peek. Take it in.
Spoilers here, everybody.
Here's your spoiler.
Oh shit, there it is.
It's been a long time.
Are they getting this out there?
It's been a long time since I've been able to show this.
I can't believe you just showed all that.
I know, but there we go.
Oh my god. Wow. Well, you're gonna get the shit suit out of you now.
Yeah.
How much like are you up for? I guess if they see that you've done it.
Fun story about the NDA. I didn't read it, but Charmer did, so he can answer the question.
No, I think we've told this before, but this is a 100% true story. They send us NDAs. I don't even remember how long ago it was. It was a long time ago. And I knew that they were sending us the paperwork to sign, so I said to Justin, specifically, Justin, I want you to hear my words. When you get this, make sure you read it. You need to know what the consequences are. You need to know what it covers. You need to know what procedure is because they might tell us something. And if it's ambiguous about whether it's under NDA or not, you need to be aware. It might have weird things like, hey, also by signing this, like you have to give us your firstborn child. Like you don't know, right? So just read it. I see an email notification come up while I'm at work and it's like the document that we have to sign, right? In like 15 seconds after the email comes in, I get a message from Justin that says, dude, will you sign this? I want them to spoil us. There's no way you could have read that in that amount of time. Absolutely none whatsoever. Absolutely none.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
This is the only reason I got to cast the Master Series, is because they know that I'm his babysitter. I am really just his handler. I am the Mary Poppins of Justin's life in the Legends community.
Oh my god, I have to tell the story from the Master Series. So, they fly us to LAX, but the casting is all done in our hotels in Burbank, which is like a 45-minute drive away. And the first week they pay for Ubers, and then the next 3 weeks they're like, hey, just download the Uber app, get yourself an Uber, and we'll reimburse you. Right. So the second week, I'm standing at this on the side of the road outside the airport, and I'm like, oh man, and I'm looking at my phone, like trying to figure out this Uber app, and this dude just drives up. He's like, you looking for a ride? I was like, yeah, man, I need to get to Burbank. So I got in the car with him and I went to Burbank. Right? And at the end of the ride, he's like using some like mileage thing. He's like, it's gonna be like whatever dollars. And I was like, okay, cool. And I paid him and I went about my business. And he emailed me a receipt, and I was like, oh, cool, it's like an Uber, right? That's got to be cool. And so I sent off my receipt to the person taking care of the money for this thing. And she calls me. She actually calls me, their accounts person or whatever. She's like, did you just like hitch a ride to Burbank from LAX? I was like, well, I mean, like he seemed reasonable, you know, like he like charged me some money. And I was like, can you email me a receipt? He's like, yeah, sure, man. And he was cool, let me vape in his car or whatever. You know, she's like, you really can't do that. I'm worried about your safety. And I was like, okay, like I'll try to take an actual Uber. And so for the last 2 weeks, Charmer just waited after he landed, and I got in his Uber.
Yeah.
What was the receipt? If it was a random person,
It was literally from zodiackiller@gmail.com. Like,
it was just text. It was just like $87 or whatever it cost.
Like, did he just type in an email? I took you for a ride and I charged you this much money, and that's a receipt.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Because I told him, I was like, hey man, I gotta have a receipt sent somebody. And he's like, oh, no problem. What's your email address? And I gave it to him.
oh.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, next question. We'll start with Sophie for this. If you could be any animal, what would it be?
If I could be a cat, easy. It's the easiest thing. All they do is sleep.
Khajiit.
Yeah.
Justin.
If I could be any animal, I would be an otter, because they're like river cats, you know? They look happy and they break cute things on their tummies. Like, I'm down with otters.
They have pet rocks. Otters have their own pet rocks.
Ooh, pet rocks are great too. Oh my god, that reminds me of a story my mom told me. When I was growing up, we were fucking poor.
Oh no, the audio's freaking out. Oh no!
If I heard it again.
What's happening?
Discord is freaking out. It's coming back.
Okay.
Slowly. There we go.
Discord's crashing.
We got it.
I got a funny story. Am I live?
No, you're not live. You said something about I have this funny story about a pet rock, and Discord literally said no, you don't.
Okay. So we were like dirt fucking poor, but like my mom would always tell me these stories. I'm looking at Sandra because she knows this story. My mom would tell me the story to remind me that she was even poorer. And she would tell me about how in the 70s, all the kids had pet rocks, and like she really wanted a pet rock. And so one day she like glued googly eyes onto a rock to make her own pet rock, and then brought it to school and be like, hey, look, I got a pet rock too. My mom would tell me this story. I mean, she must have told me it 10 times when I was growing up, just to point out that things weren't that bad.
And then you got to be a teen and you reminded her that your pet rock was crack. That's how poor you were.
I mean, that's true. I was the same age where she was making fake pet rocks. I was smoking crack, yeah.
Oh, how times change.
Yeah. Well, look, man, poverty does weird things to people.
If I could be any animal, I would be a trash panda. They're fat, they're mischievous, and they can't ever get caught for their deeds because they're always wearing a mask.
This is like exactly why you like hanging out with me.
Pretty much. Those are, in fact, donuts on Sophie's leg, I think. I don't know. I'm not good at anatomy.
Sorry, this chair's really uncomfortable, so I was trying to find a new position. I wasn't aware my donuts were showing.
Well,
You
that's the end
can't.
of Charmer's channel.
Yeah, thanks. I just broke Twitch terms of service because you're over there showing your holes on stream. Thanks. Would you and Justin prefer a more predictable meta or a far more diverse meta? And to that I say, Justin and I don't matter. What would you prefer, Sophie?
Diverse.
Yeah.
It's so much fun when you've got no idea what you're up against.
I totally agree.
And that sounds really silly coming from a net decker like me who tries to play just all the meta stuff, but I get bored when I play against, like, the same stuff over and over again. I'll grind the same deck out for, like, days, but I prefer it to be against a whole bunch of people that are doing way more interesting and exciting things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I'm there. Yeah, diverse. Yeah. I mean, predictable metas are great, and they certainly like help out the tournament scene. But I like it when players can express themselves. Is I guess the way that I'll say it. Right? Everybody has kind of their own playstyle, what they like to do. Elder Scrolls as a franchise has just traditionally been about playing the game the way that you want. You customize your character. You can go off on whatever side quests you want. So I think that the card game should reflect that, you know?
I agree. Zombie Hunter 9x19 is throwing some shade here. Says, you'd think, Justin, that as someone who has done time, you would have stranger danger sense. Look, that's exactly why I got in the car with the dude, because he seemed like he was all right. I made it to the hotel.
Fun question. Which Legends card would all of you be?
Arcanium Librarian.
Your rules, huh?
I'm an orc who thinks he's smart.
Sophie? Yeah, of course.
Cool lawkeeper, because she's cool.
Ooh. I mean, if everybody knows exactly what I'm going to say. I'm a Nord Firebrand.
Of course.
I'm small, I'm shirtless, I'm angry. I do one thing, and not even that well. But in the greater scheme, I enable so much, right? Like, I like to think that that's a thing. I do also want to quickly call out, I didn't get a chance to earlier because everything was going wild. There has been a lot of follows. During the podcast, we have the notifications turned off. But everybody who's following, we do see it. We appreciate it. Ramby subscribed to Twitch Prime. Sincerely appreciate it. I do see those things. I do want to acknowledge it. It's just during the podcast for the sake of the audio and kind of preserving that for the future listeners, I have the notifications turned off.
Is that the only subscription you got during the show?
During this show, yeah. It means you have not...
No, dude, I did. I subscribed like 10 minutes ago.
It did not come through on my notification board. Weird.
Well, you're going to have to wait another 30 days then, I guess.
Well, thank you, Justin.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Nobody got my Twitch Prime sub last month because we didn't do the podcast, and this is the only time I'm on Twitch.
All right. Somebody wants to know thoughts on a Silence Scout and potentially a Tempo Mage being at the Master Series.
Silent Scout, probably not. Tempo Mage could definitely make an appearance. Oh, you know what? That reminds me of the card that I think that is going to dramatically increase in its play since the last time. Praetorian Commander. There you go. It saw no play. I expect it'll see more than that.
What about you, Sophie?
I think the Scout might be, like a more aggressive Scout. Immortal August has been running an aggro Scout that has siege catapults in it. I don't think it is entirely outside of the realms of possibility that like a silent Scout would show up.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be Scout, but I know that at the end of last month, I ran into 3 different players running what I would call Silence Warrior. with siege catapults and
It's fun.
typical aggressive lists, and then the new card that silences a creature and then gives it +2/+0.
Fortress disease.
Yeah, so I would not be shocked if I saw it. I don't expect to see it, I guess I'll put it that way, but if I did see it, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be like, oh my god, it's Dwemmers, but I would, you know. 2-cost 5/5s are good. Our next question was specifically targeted at Justin. It said, Justin's thoughts on the state of Dwemmers.
Pretty good. I mean, relatively speaking, better than ever. That's a deck that doesn't want a level 3 Drain Vitality hitting both their lanes. Also, I've seen some experimentation done recently where you're running the bare minimum number of cards to trigger Steam Conductor, Constructor, and what's the one that gives +3/+3?
I should know this because I was just playing Dwemm Totem at lunch.
Yeah, the two of those are incredibly powerful cards, and if you run like a very, very small number of just enough to trigger them both of neutral cards, I think you have like pretty successful, powerful stuff that's not being played. Yeah, Dynamo.
Yeah, Dwarven Dynamo, yeah.
If you want to go full Dwemer or even mono neutral, I know that Charmer's got a great list. Mono neutral is not terrible. Like, I think that you could make an argument that mono neutral is like tier 5, you know, like playable on the ladder, like is gonna win games.
Yeah, I don't want to give away his magic, but I know that CVH has been playing a primarily neutral deck. I mean, it's got some colored cards in it, but
he gave me permission to film with that, so I'm gonna be doing that tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Next question. Do you think there will ever be something like competitive limited? So think like either arenas or some other limited format competitive.
No. I do not.
What about you, Sophie?
I don't really know what that means. I mean, this is the only card game that I've played. What would that mean for an arena competitive? What, like you have a tournament that's arena? Is that what that means?
Yeah. So, like in Magic the Gathering, for example, there are limited formats where there's like booster draft, sealed deck. These are things where like you would be given packs, you open them, and then you have to make a deck out of what you get. Legends, it would either be competitive arena, or maybe they do some sort of like pre-packaging stuff, and then you have to build a deck out of what you get.
Why not? That sounds fun. Do you mean, oh, so the question is whether or not there'd be like a competitive side of it? Oh,
right.
Sounds like a fun concept, though.
I think that draft works as a format for competitive Magic because, to some extent, although not obviously, you know, you could open a huge bomb that nobody else opens, but to some extent, like, it balances itself out. The same, there's nothing to stop you from being offered 3 Vivex, right? Whereas that is, you know, virtually impossible in Magic.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like if you were going to make it competitive, I think you'd not have rarity disparity, right? So the sealed formats in Magic, for example, Sophie, since you're not familiar, you always have the same chances at same number of rares, like same number of commons and uncommons for the most part. Now in the draft format, whether or not you take the rare you open is a completely different story, but at least you're presented with the opportunity. Whereas in our arenas, you know, everybody who's played any amount of arena knows you can have somebody draft 3 legends and you can have somebody draft like 2 epics. So
right, but that's now.
Right.
And the new clients are supposed to have what, like in-game or in-client tournament stuff. So they could change it. Have like little events.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. limited format in Magic is my favorite way to play the game that isn't Commander. So,
Same here. It's
It
just
started
the only
well.
reason I still have MTGO. In fact, shout out to people going to QuakeCon. I'm bringing a Magic Cube. It is sitting in front of me to QuakeCon. So if you want to draft that, let me know.
Another question we had was, have you guys ever thought about doing a co-op stream playing Legends or some other game?
Co-op.
So, like, the quick answer would be yes. I've promised Sophie that I'll be on her stream at some point, like, co-oping together. We just got to find a time where I'm not traveling.
Yes, please.
But yeah, so we're going to do that. Justin and I have talked about playing games on stream in the past. Usually we're talking about Legends, though.
Yeah. These will be things that like I'm interested in doing in the future once I get settled into my house.
I mean, I've done co-op streams, not that like it appeals to most people, but like I've streamed Fortnite when I was playing with Dust and Ian and Griffin before, and we were doing like squads. So I'm always open to it. Look, I'll play just about anything. Just about. There's some games that I'm not super into, but weird, it's not let me do my copy paste thing now. But yeah, we're open. I'm open to it.
I love co-op streams. They're so much fun. Heaps of people say no though.
All right, doesn't want to let me copy that one, so I'll just have to remember that question. If you could turn any card into an avatar, what card would you set as your own in-game avatar?
Lich's Ascension. It'd be a cool looking avatar.
What about you, Sophie?
I'm trying to think of someone who's like, I don't know, maybe like Kaios or something. He's real fit. Something that makes me look like real muscly and strong and intimidating. I've just got the Lady Orc because the other Lady Orc sounds too much like my neighbor. So I just went to the other one.
You're not doing a lot to dissuade Charmer from thinking you live in Middle Earth.
I mean,
it's uncanny. They sound exactly the same when she's yelling at her kid to get inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I'm setting mine to be Nord Firebrand, but on days I want to be spicy and change it up, it's Worm King's Agent. I'd probably rotate between the two.
People are mentioning Yargrim. That's a way better answer.
That's a really good one.
That's a solid one. That's a solid one indeed. Do you think we'll see multiple formats soon, like MTG's Standard and Modern? And I guess that ties into another question somebody else had asked, which was questions about expansion rotation. Because in my opinion, they're tied to each other.
Yeah, it's inevitable too.
What about you, Sophie?
I don't know what those formats are.
I mean, you don't have to know what the formats mean. Just think of it as, do you think that we'll ever have multiple constructed formats in Legends? So, like,
I think that anything's possible with this new developer and new client coming forward, and they already want to change everything. Well, not change everything, but they're going to, the tournament scene and everything is going to change. So if they're going to bring in other formats, it's going to happen, like, within the next couple of years, and that's really exciting. Game's just almost like at the beginning of a new era.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable. At some point, we're not quite there yet, but at some point we're going to hit a critical mass where we have to start considering rotating some cards out. So when that happens, there's going to be people that want to play with everything.
Cards to do that? It's true. Okay, this is a silly question because all the other games But relative to its age, does Legends have like a big card pool? Or is it...
Relative to its age, it has a pretty small card pool.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
But we're still like...
How are we going to restrict stuff?
Well, eventually, like I said, we'll hit a critical mass where like sets will probably rotate out. I think that a lot of it's going to depend on Sparky Pants, right? So one of the things they've said publicly in a lot of their different releases is that the pros of rebuilding this client from the ground up is that they want to be able to iterate faster, right? That's direct from Sparky Pants and the announcement. You know, reading between the lines, that sounds like, you know, potentially, I don't know if it's going to be faster content releases, but at least getting things on a schedule, right? And then once that happens, once we get into a regular cadence, inevitably we will hit a point, right? Whether it's, you know, a year from now, 3 years from now, whatever the case may be, we will hit a point where there will just be too many cards in the pool to effectively balance things, keep the quality, and keep the game where it is. And the other important thing about rotations, in my opinion, and why they are also potentially good, is that it makes it so that the new player experience is better because they have to deal, if they want to play in a certain smaller format, right, they have a smaller card pool that they can focus on. Like if you come into a game and it's 5 years old and you have to consider crafting stuff from every set ever and acquiring cards from every set ever and all of the story expansions, and they never rotate out, then that's going to feel incredibly overwhelming as a new player. So I think that rotations are inevitable. I think that when they happen, we'll have different formats. How soon that is, no idea, but I think it's gonna happen eventually, or not. Meteors are a thing. Like we could all die tomorrow. So sun supernovas, you know, North Korea launches nukes, we launch nukes, and then other people retaliate. Whatever the case may be, like maybe not. Maybe we never rotate because we're all dead. We have that.
I love how that's the only two paths that you're describing. It's either we rotate or we all die. That's it. There's no in between.
I see you're getting to know him quite well.
Yeah, pretty much. Charmer Justin, did you have moments when you wanted to quit Legends and think now that it was worth it to stay and create content for this game?
Yeah, I had moments when I wanted to quit. The worst part for me was the fall of 2017. During a long stretch between Skyrim and Clockwork City, I just started getting bored. It became harder and harder to come up with new ridiculous things to do on the ladder without new content. And I was just burning out because as I was stretching for more and more things that I hadn't done before, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel of like what was possible in this game, and my win rate was non-existent with those kinds of things, and so I was struggling to make interesting, compelling content with the sort of off-meta stuff that I like to play, and I was thinking about quitting. There was a couple months in the fall of 2017 where I only released like 4 or 5 videos.
I feel like that was around the same time that I had one of my like 3 blow-ups that I've ever had when I was live. I've had a couple. They're pretty rare, but I'm not going to pretend like I've never had a meltdown on stream. For me, the answer is I literally quit streaming and playing Legends every day. I literally do. Like, I know that sounds entirely like hyperbole, but I'm not one who's prone to it. There is at least one point in every day where I say, you know what? I don't know why I do it. It takes up so much time. I'm unliked, right? Like it's a equal parts like I stress myself out because of the number of things I do in a day. I suffer from pretty bad imposter syndrome. Like there's a number of things that factor into it, just mental health in general. But I quit every day. And then somebody like says, "Hey man, what are you doing?" Justin sends me a message. CVH says hello. Sophie says, "I'm gonna miss my train." And then I remember why I love the game and the community, and then I come back. but I quit every day. But there's never been like a time where I thought I was going to jump to other games. Like I'm fully upfront. I play just about every card game that comes out to some extent. I played a lot of Gwent. I played Hand of the Gods when it came out. I always give things a go. I'm really looking forward to playing Artifact. So like, don't be surprised if I play that. That doesn't mean I'm leaving Legends. Like, barring Legends doing something incredibly drastic and or just shutting the entire game down, I can't imagine myself actually leaving despite mentally quitting daily. But I do enjoy other games and I will play them.
If Legends ends for some reason, I'm gonna stop making content. I'm not a professional gamer, content creator. This is just a hobby that took several unexpected turns, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities it's presented me. But I just do this because I love the people who are involved in this game, and the people I've gotten to know playing it.
What about you, Sophie? I know that it was directed at Justin and I, but have you ever considered leaving Legends after you started streaming? Do you imagine yourself leaving it at some point? You're newer, so I'm kind of curious what your experience and outlook is like.
Not since I started streaming, but before it I did, and I did leave. So I started playing this game in, I'm going to say September 2017, like just quite recently. I was in a really bad place in the community that I've been involved with. Like I worked for an online RPG, and so I was searching for a new game to play, found this, and said to a couple of friends that I wanted to try it, and could they teach me, because I'd never played any card games. When I got involved with it was really only those two people that I could ever talk to about the game. And I'm potentially going to hit a sore point here, and I apologize in advance in chat if I do. But I found out about Twitch Drop. And I went on Twitch, and I hadn't really used it before, and I started joining some of the streams to try and get Twitch drops. And I'd ask questions, and nobody would talk to me. And I didn't even realize that there was a community behind it, because I didn't know that they were rebroadcasts, and I didn't know about that whole thing. So I never knew there was a community behind here where people like hung out and chatted and made friends. I joined, like I followed the Facebook page, and that's very rarely used. No one really talks on it. Not a group. I think there's a group that's a bit better, but it was a page. So I quit for like at least a month. I just didn't realize. It wasn't until I decided that I wanted to start to learn how to stream, and I started streaming, that's when I found out there was a community. Since that point, no, I haven't wanted to stop playing it. I get angry at it, but I haven't wanted to stop playing it. Just because of the people, basically.
Well, I think it shows. You're incredibly well liked by a lot of people.
Yeah, I would second that. I've always enjoyed chatting with you on Discord and stuff, even though I'm like fucking shit at responding. And I think that people...
Yeah, I don't respond quickly either, so...
I think people enjoy your content quite a bit.
Oh, thanks. No, I like the community, and that's why I bring people onto the streams with me, because I want to make friends. Like, I'm asking people to come on. Like, with that last one that I had with Dust, I'd never spoken to Dust in person before, but I'd watched his streams. I sent him a message, and I said, hey, I'm feeling really low about streaming at the moment, and I want to build my confidence back up, and I want to hang out with you. Will you come to a stream with me? He's like, sure. Like, we'd never spoken before that phone call, but he's like, sure, why not? And then I make a new friend, and we have fun on stream, and I beat him in the challenge. Actually, one of you two, can you enforce his punishment for losing the challenge? Because I'm really concerned that he's not going to do it.
Yeah, what's up?
He has to publicly, like, I don't care if it's on stage, anywhere, there just needs to be people around. He needs to publicly challenge CVH to an arm wrestle.
I can film that.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to back out of it.
I recently bought a new video camera for a couple of reasons. Some are personal projects, but one of the reasons is...
It's porno.
Well, sure.
Exactly where my brain just went.
Yeah.
Listen, all right? Twitch isn't the only place I stream. Listen.
Jesus.
I got a new camera, and I got a shotgun mic coming in the mail. Hopefully it'll be here by Tuesday. Assuming it arrives on time, I do plan on bringing it with me to catalog the journey. So if possible, I will try to make sure at a minimum I get him challenging on that.
Yeah. CDH is fucking ripped, Alice.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Alright.
I've seen his photos that he posts.
Alright.
The other option that I wanted was for, I was going to get him to wear a t-shirt, but, you've already got that part covered. CDH suggested telling him not to register with plunder. How cruel is that?
That's awful.
Yeah, that would just be beyond me.
Yeah. So let's wrap up these questions and then give away a 60-pack bundle.
All right, yeah, we got 6 more, but some of them are quick. So we will close the questions so that we can get to giving away this bundle. We have, what voice line gives you nightmares?
Time to fight.
The self-strided death whale.
Aww.
When it dies specifically.
That is a sad one.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a voice line. It's the yell that Tazcad makes. Yeah, right? Like I don't know if it counts as a voice line, but just going all the way back to like open beta, even to today, there are moments where like you hear Tazcad and you've lost the game.
Yeah.
And like even back in open beta, like Tazcad used to cost 8. Thieves Guild Recruit used to reduce his cost. So like if you high rolled Thieves Guild Recruit and you had the ring, you were seeing Tazcads on like turn 5 back then. Tazcad gives me nightmares, even still.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody wants us on the spot to create a card that is a factotum support that would give them ward. What would you do? Oh, I understand what they're saying. So they want you to create a card that like supports the factotum archetype that also gives factotums ward. I think that's what they're asking for.
I mean, like, the obvious spot is 4 Magicka, just because there is no 4 Magicka factotum. But a 4 Magicka factotum, even at 1/1, that said grant ward or something else to your factotum, feels broken.
I would make it a 7 cost 2/2 for balance reasons.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to cost that without making it too good or unplayable.
A 7 cost 2/2 means that by the time you're playing it on turn 7, it's going to have likely received some buffs by then. So the hidden value there is timing of play. It's never going to be a 2/2. But you're still getting a fantastic ward creature that's going to give everything else ward, and it's incredibly strong. Like, I think it almost has to purposely kind of suck in order for that to be a thing. So
I think at 7 Magicka 2/2, maybe you say choose, like the factotum ability, but assemble either drain or ward.
Oh gods, that might be too much. I'm gonna go with
It would be, dude.
I'm gonna go with rally or ward.
Rally seems so atrocious on a 7 drop.
Sure, but at least it gives you something else to do when you draw the second one.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right. Which card would you buff, and why is it Skyforge?
That was all you. That was at Charmer.
Well, everybody says at Charmer so that I see it, Sophie. Really, they want you to see it. Nobody's here for me. You're the special guest.
And they ignored it.
You are the special guest. You get special treatment and special questions. Why are we buffing Skyforge?
We're not buffing Skyforge, we're making Bushwhack neutral. That was my argument prior to the buffs. I said that was going to be the one buff, they're going to make Bushwhack neutral so I can play it in every single list.
Is Bushwhack too good at neutral?
No. Perfect.
I don't know that I want my assassin deck to functionally ignore guards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that seems too good.
Entirely not related to the question, but I want to pitch something just because it's on my brain right this moment, and I have no filter. Obviously, we've seen the power of Nixax, and gaining Magicka on a body, it's been problematic. Would you ever think it'd be okay to see something that's like the Legends equivalent of Dark Ritual, So like if you're not familiar, Dark Ritual in Magic is a card that costs 1, but gives you 3 magicka, but like right then, like it's a spell in that game, so it'd be the equivalent of like an action here.
I think that you would have to cost it to a point where, like, you'd need to make the card a disadvantage. So, like, I mean, like, as close as, like, the most balanced one I can come up with off the top of my head is 2 magicka for a gain 3 magic at this turn. And even that feels like
what if
too bad.
I was gonna say, what if it's like 2 magicka and you take 5 damage but gain 3 or 4 magicka?
Taking 5 damage exactly is like an advantage, I think, in this game. Every fucking Prophecy Battle Mage deck on the planet would play that card.
Well, okay, fine, but then it's in, not Battle Mage colors.
I don't know. I mean, everything in this game that generates cost discounts or free magicka feels like a bad idea.
All right, fair. Somebody asked, what has been the worst nerf and why is it Manticora?
I summoned a Manticora today. I Desperate Conjured an 8-drop that I had gotten off Desperate Conjuring a 6-drop. I don't know. What's the worst nerf? Some things that have been nerfed wouldn't be played now if they were reverted back to their old stats. In particular, I'm thinking of House Kinsman.
I play it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's still really good in Goblins. I think that if you wanted to play Aggressive Archer, which, by the way, I think is underplayed right now as well, any deck that's aggro and can play Gambler and Ash Berserker is underplayed. Wink, wink. But like, I think it has a home there. It's a good body and it has reach and it fits your aggro plan and aggro mirrors. It can be a source of life gain to tip the scales.
I think that Histgrove could cost 3 right now and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna say that the worst nerf was Echo of Akatosh, maybe?
No, that card's just
Bringer
not
of
fun.
Nightmares?
Bringer of Nightmares, maybe. But Echo of Akatosh is just not fun.
Thief of Dreams?
Yeah.
What about you, Sophie? How many nerfs have you played through?
Not many. I'm sorry, I just totally zoned out of like half of that. My husband's reminding me about dinner with my in-laws. The only ones I can remember was back when I didn't know there was a community. I remember logging in one day and there was like, it must have been in maybe October or December or somewhere around that level, and there was like 3 cards that came up saying these have changed, and I was like, cool. I didn't have any sort of concept of what that meant. Like I didn't run any sort of meta decks at that time, so I wouldn't have even known it was happening.
All right, last 2 questions. First, what is your saltiest moment in the game?
I once lost to Prophecy Battle Mage 3 times in a row, and so I recorded a video, like a 6-minute video where I just said derp, 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 and that derp was the only word I said, and I assembled a Prophecy Battle Mage deck, hopped on a ladder, and beat someone on turn 5, and then I released it and quickly learned that people don't want to see me do that.
Anytime I'm playing anything that's just straight removal, I can't stand it when the first like 5 creatures that I've played just get removed. Like you play a card, they remove it. You play a card, they remove it. I have fun when I play it, don't get me wrong. Like when I'm trying to learn it, I enjoy it. But I hate it so much. I just want to concede it.
For the people in chat who want to see that video, I removed it, I put classical music on top of it, and I re-released it. So it's still on my channel.
My saltiest moment would be the first of my 3 on-stream meltdowns, and I was playing like Altar Monk, and I'd ran into the same meta decks like 3 times in a row, and just kind of snapped and started talking about looking for deals on rope at Home Depot because I was going to hang myself and a few other choice things at the time. So, yeah, definitely that one. It was a highly viewed clip of mine for a long time before I got rid of all evidence. Last question, sadly, at the end of our time here. If Bethesda were to put a contract on the table for you to be a permanent caster of the Master Series with a considerable paycheck, would you sign it?
Wait, I missed the question. One more time?
If Bethesda were to put a contract on the table for you to be a permanent caster of the Master Series with a considerable paycheck, would you sign it?
Yes.
Wow, that wasn't the answer I was expecting out of you, Justin. But now that I've actually had a moment to process, I'm not surprised that was your answer, because you're impulsive and sign everything that's put in front of you.
I mean, look, I'm not a good enough player to compete in them. And
Sure.
I want to be part of this activity, so.
Here's the thing. I'll give the boring adult answer, which is, it would have to depend on the terms, I have a family to take care of. I got to make sure bills get paid, blah, blah, blah. So depending on whether or not that it would fit into my schedule and I could make it be feasible, then sure. But, I work 2 jobs that are not streaming, so I got a lot to balance.
Dude, I don't know why Discord keeps kicking me off, man.
I'll say it for you. Good times.
I haven't said that yet.
I know.
I've been engaged all night.
Whatever, I've seen you yawn like twice already.
Can we not do that? It's like huge.
It's huge. Oh. Alright, so about this giveaway thing.
Let's give somebody 60 packs of Houses of Morrowind. I think this is the bundle that actually comes with guaranteed legendaries and a premium legendary too, right?
I don't know.
I've got one to give away before, but I've never opened one of them before.
Yeah, every time I've ever received these, I've given them away.
All right, good times.
So I don't know. Maybe not.
That's true. I've never opened these either. Yeah, let's rock and roll. So let's your last opportunity to enter. Type !Masters if you want to be registered to win. Good luck, everybody who has entered.
Does somebody want to do a drum roll? Does Sophie want to do it on her leg and it'll be a donut roll? All right, we are.
What just made that sound?
All right, I'm still seeing a ton in chat, so we're gonna go 10 more seconds, and I'm gonna hit close giveaway. This is gonna be a hard stop. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, cinco, cuatro, drei, dos. I started mixing German in there. Last one. Whatever the number 1 is in Hobbiton. And closed.
Tahi.
All right, the winner is
Solara.
Solara X1.
Solara X1. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. You have won some really cool shit. 60 packs, the bundle, Houses of Morrowind.
Say something in chat so that I can click on your name. I will message you a code. It works best if you say something in chat because otherwise somebody might try to make a fake account, claim it. You would be surprised what people do. So if you
I made a fake Twitter account yesterday, and within like 10 minutes, it got fucking shut down. I was pretty bummed.
There we go. So there's your code. Congratulations again. This was good. This was everything that we wanted because we had technical difficulties.
Yes.
The only thing we needed was more Tide Pods.
Yeah. Tide Pods are kind of passe now, though, man. Like, we need something new.
You know what? We could bring them back, though.
It's true. That's true.
There hasn't been anything like super like as fun as Tide Pods since. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. Good times.
There it is. There it is.
You're a great guest. You're a great member of the community, and I'm super glad that you were able to. Super grateful that you were able to take some time out of your day to participate in this today.
Thank you. As much as it sounds weird saying it to you guys, it's a massive honor. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how that could possibly be fucking true. But...
Not even a little bit, but we appreciate the sentiment. So,
I had to add that tiny disclaimer at the beginning.
If you're listening to the audio version, you can find her at EOLISTV on Twitch. So again, that's twitch.tv/EOLISTV. She's also on Twitter and a few other websites. Some stockbroker thing as well.
Oh, that website. Okay, yeah, no, that's one.
Yeah, totally that one.
I'm gonna go to an all-you-can-eat barbecue place.
Sweet. Have fun.
Thanks, guys.
Do not eat Tide Pods. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Don't eat Tide Pods, but also eat Tide Pods.
Yeah, I mean, legally we're going to say, hey, don't actually eat Tide Pods, but... All right.
That reminds me of, like, asking CBH, like, and you, like, if I needed to include a disclaimer before the video where I drank 1 million Scoville hot sauce because it's dangerous. Fun fact, I ended up with, putting the disclaimer out there.
Probably just good to hedge your bets.
Yeah.
Do you want to say the outro, Justin?
Oh yeah. See you on the ladder.